Good morning, YouTube. Listen, I'm supposed to be coming on here to review Star. It's what I usually do on Thursday morning, but there was so much buzz about this other show. I said, okay, this story about New Edition on BET. There's so many people reviewing it and recapping it on on YouTube. I said, well, I got to check this out, right? So I had missed the first one because, frankly, I'm 58 years old, so they were a little after my time. Was it before my time? After my time. Uh, this was a kid group in around 1980. I think they came out in 79. 1980, I was a grown man and out here doing my own thing. So I wasn't into the teeny bopper type thing. But so I was hardly aware of these guys. Um, Music seems to stick to you in your teenager years when you seem to listen to most music. So if this was if this was on Jackson 5 or something, I would remember every song, remember the concerts, the coverage. I didn't know anything about New Edition, so it wasn't as interesting to me. But there was so much buzz about it. I said, well, let me check this out. So at 7 o'clock, they're doing it in three parts. At 7 o'clock, they recap. They did uh, first part again, and then they were going to do the second part at 9 o'clock. So Star came on 9 o'clock, so she got preempted. Because after watching the first one, I couldn't help but want to watch the second part. It was very well done docudrama. So anyway, so I became aware of these kids. Of course, I mean, I listened to radio as a young person because I was still about when they were 10, 11, 12. I would be about 20, 22, 23. I would still hear them on radio. So I was somewhat familiar with the songs. But anyway, I didn't really get aware of them until they were adults, and then there was just kind of background music as as an adult group, young adults, for some of my shenanigans in Hollywood. So anyway, recently, the last couple of years, I became aware of New Edition and also, is it Bell Biv DeVoe? Bell Biv Bell DeVoe. Three of the guys went on after New Edition. So I watched something like that on TV1. And I said, "Oh my goodness, they were that big, and I didn't even heard of them." But so I'm somewhat familiar with the story. Okay, so in this part, so I watched 1 and 2 last night. I'm not going to attempt to try to review this whole thing in detail because I think it's been done. It's being done enough. A lot of people involved in this show, but I do want to make a few comments about this record industry thing. Okay, so very quickly in part 1, they introduce Bobby Brown is one who initiates the group. He gets on stage and he has a brain freeze, um, stage fright. So he goes on. Supposed to be going to this show to sing, and he can't sing. He freezes up. He goes and runs off the stage into his mama's arms. So he goes to attempt to try to brag to these neighborhood kids. They all live in the projects. Brag to these kids about how wonderful a job he did at this talent show. Well, they were there at the show. They almost got in a fight about people ratting his ass. But he says, "Well, I'm gonna do it again, but I want you guys." Bobby Brown. I guess he was always kind of sharp with the clothing because I guess he's only about 10, 12 years old, and here he got these. Were they orange or some kind of strange red leather pants on a kid in the projects? I said, "Oh, he's already with the fashions." But so he convinces his friends to go on the stage with him, and that's how that was how the group got started. First, he gets two of his friends. I don't remember all the names and stuff like that. Like I said, I'm not going to attempt to review this in detail. Uh, Two of his friends, then they go to the mother, who's played by who we know as Frida Gatz. Suggests, well, you guys are serious. They're just doing a little rehearsal in their apartment. You need to get in touch with. You need a manager, someone to handle you guys. So she tells them about this manager dude. who's a local person. I guess they're in Boston. They're in Boston, and he's worked with a lot of local acts. And so his name is Brooke. Okay, so Brooke, they approach Brooke. He's in the alley, getting ready to go home with his girl, and he said they approach him. Will you listen to us? We want to sing. We want to make a group. He says no initially. He says I don't work with kids. So they block his car in, and they perform in front of his car in his headlights. I guess you can still sound good without a cappella. But he takes an interest. He said, meet me tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. Be there on time. And so this begins the group. He gets very involved in this group, in the choreography. Because he's supposed to be the manager, but he actually has to make a group. He has to teach them how to dance, and he has to help with the clothing. He has to do everything initially. So Brooke pitches them to a record company. This big dude, I forget his name. I don't know. Maurice. Take him to this record producer, Maurice. The kids start. These are little preteen kids, so they start fighting in the studio when they're supposed to be auditioning for the producer. Producer sets them down, sends someone else in there, and I think his name is Ralph. Ralph's the lead singer. So Ralph has to come in there and sing while they're kind of on a timeout. He goes in there, he wears it out. This is one of those little teeny bopper songs. So he takes them on. Now he has to go and see these kids' mother. Now these are underage kids. Now this is what I want to mainly talk about. This record industry. This has got to be the coldest pimp game there is. All right, I'm with the mothers. I'll tell you that. Where is the damn money? You can talk all the bullshit about the records and how they are on the charts and how everybody wants to hear them and how they're in demand. But if there's no money, I mean, you have these underage kids. He takes them, signs them. He gives them $500 a piece. Now to them, they show the girls, $500. These are poor people in the projects. But I'm sorry, even in 1980, $500 still ain't shit. $500 to sell your soul for $500, sign on down the line, $500. I guess people want to record, they want to make a name for themselves, and they fall for these shysters every time. You give them $500 in some kind of Nintendo game or something like that, Game Boy, throw that in because that would be enticing to the kids. But the mothers, I mean, they have no point of reference. They don't know anything about the music industry, but $500. He bought that group for $2,500 anyway. And so they start singing locally at first, then they start going back and forth to New York, and they're becoming popular. They win all these contests and things, and they release a record. But there's no money. Now, I don't give a damn what the spin is these record companies give people. If these kids are being taken to New York City every weekend, and they are performing, and people are showing up and paying for their tickets to see these kids, ain't no way in hell there's no money at all. Why are they doing it? They would have been better, from the way they're presenting this story, they would have been better to work a few hours at McDonald's. They would have got more money out of working at McDonald's than they have of having a #1 record. That don't make any sense. There's always this shit, and of course we hear it in every one of these biopics or whatever about the music industry. They tell this even happened to David Bowie, who was the top of his game, huge and broke. They tell them, oh, well, we had to pay for the gas in the vehicle. We had to rent the vehicles to move the equipment. So in other words, everything is put on the artist. Now, my thing is this. If the record company is the one that's going to be selling the records, shouldn't they be putting up the sets? Shouldn't they be buying the outfits? They're the ones getting the money, right? So that's just straight bullshit. People there, just like you see hookers on the street. You wonder why in the hell would she be out here selling her body to give a pimp her damn money? She don't get nothing out the deal. What is she doing it for? It's almost the same thing with this music thing. You mean to tell me that basically all you guys are doing, record companies, all you're doing is loaning us money to produce ourselves. We got to pay for everything. You take all the credit for being producers, and then all the checks come to and through you. which none of it seems to trickle down to the artists. They should be put in jail. The way they're doing these children. I mean, I guess an adult person will be kind of up on their own, but to go and do this to children, kids, and don't give them anything, why would you not give them any money? I mean, nothing. These kids say we still on, not only still on food stamp, but they don't even have money for lunch money. And they're sitting up here with the #1 hit. Anyway, it's heartbreaking. There's certain things about all of these, certain things that all these record company things have in common whenever they do these record stories. People are being ripped off by the record companies, producers, and generally speaking, somebody ends up on drugs. The drugs seem to be the downfall. And the egos of these groups splitting up. So all the glitter is not gold, people. Because I mean, other than people clapping for you and stuff, you hear your voice on the radio. I don't see what the point is. I'm gonna be hoeing, I'm gonna be doing it for money. So they got them convinced now. Okay, oh, you get paid on the second record. Okay, we got to pay for all. Well, what about the next record? Don't you got to get the same sets and the same travel and all these expenses? They even charging for the gas money. I got to pay you that back again, right? So anyway, this is a common theme. All right, so this dude, okay, Brooke is the manager. So Brooke seems to be actually is a decent person. When we first meet him, and he seems kind of rough around the edges, kind of the way he interacts with the kids. Like he might be a player himself. But no, he just trains them. I mean, he's not all lovey-dovey with him in the beginning, but they take a liking to him because he actually has the best interest at heart. But he's not a businessman. He's a small-time manager who works with local acts. So when he gets involved in these record companies, he's really out of his league. And then, well, he's out of his league. So these mothers, and these mothers, I'm so with them girls. What's the bottom line? Am I going to pay my light bill this month? All this old spin you got, oh, they got to promote the record. We got to do this. We got to do that. Why shouldn't you do that? It's your money. You're the one collecting the money. You're the one who sells the records. It all goes to you. What is the artist? What is the benefit for the artist? They just like these pimps, they can be saying, oh, it's going to be good for you next year, baby. Yeah, they're going to all be wanting your name. Want my name what? To drop a load in me? Let me try to pay attention. Okay, so Ralph's the best thing. He does this song. I forget the Teeny Bopper song. Ronnie is the manager's nephew. He comes in at the last minute. They only have 4 guys, and so Brooks got a nephew. He brings in. He's a good dancer. He's not the most talented singer, but he works hard to be in a group, and he brings the choreography up. So now they have 5, including Bobby Brown. So Bobby Brown wasn't even initially the lead singer. It was the other guy, Ronnie. But all this happens in the first one, right? Maurice, after these mothers see they ain't getting paid, they get out of the contract with Maurice. Brooke gets them out of it some kind of way. Okay, so Maurice is gone, the big dude. He was the first producer. And let me see. Yeah, so they interview a few people. This white guy, what's his name? All these damn names. Ugh, Gary. All right, so they bring in Gary. Gary's a white guy. He's a producer. He seems very humble, very sincere. He wants to help these guys. They listen to him. They interview him. And he convinces them that he is their guy. And he's still talking about the money pouring in. I'll never do you like that. I'll never do you the way they did. So they get rid of Maurice and Brooke. They vote to get rid of Brooke, although he's the most stable force in these kids' lives, because they're just turning them over to the record companies who are just dogging them. or working the hell out of them, and then don't give them, I mean, nothing. What we're presented with, no money. Now they got this guy Gary. He breaks some money big promises. Gary is a snake. Now he doesn't appear to be a snake. His personality is that of just a guy like a, he doesn't dress up nicer and he's not flashy or anything. He's just like a more like an employee, and he just wants to make him happy kind of thing. But he is a snake. Now my first clue that he's a snake is towards the end of the first episode when when they have taken him to MCA Records in Los Angeles. He's uh, set up. He's arranged for them to meet with the CEO there to sign his contracts. So he's got this big company. Okay, this happens at the very end of the first episode, the first part one. He takes him there, and then the CEO takes him in the back room. What's his name? I forget his name. Gerald Bisbee. Gerald Bisbee. I don't know if that's the actor's name or the character's name. Anyway, he takes the guy Gary in the back into the conference room and asks him what the hell is going on, because Gary thought it was a cute idea that they'd be singing when they met him. So he had him singing, kind of waltzing through the office, singing while the employees are around. That's how they introduce. He said, "Oh, that's cool. That's cool." That's what the CEO says, but he don't think it's cool at all. He thinks it's foolishness. And he said, "This is the key thing. I paid $1 million for this contract. $1 million. So he he has signed this with this company, and they have given him $1 million for this group for their contract. Now the group has not got nothing. That's what I mean by a dog. Because if you have these underage kids working, you mean you're not even gonna give them a few $1,000s? I mean, you're gonna take all the money, and that's what's presented to us. We don't know the details, but that's what's presented to us here. He gets $1 million from MCA Records, and he keeps it all for himself. He don't give these kids nothing. He gives them the same old sorry song and dance about how they got to pay for the sets and the outfits. You can go to get them old cheap ass outfits they were wearing. How much could that have cost? Nope, not $1 million. And so everybody does well except for the artists. Okay, that leaves the first episode. This is not a review. It's just a few comments when I saw. Okay, so Mike, is it Mike DeVoe? DeVoe. Mike is played by the guy who plays Akeem on Empire. Okay, so Mike is okay. All right, so they're in LA. Mike is being belittled by some of these other guys, and I mean they're just being kids. And these all didn't work with teenagers. They have to put my extras to deal with teenagers. But all right, so they're going somewhere in this limousine. Mike is the last one to get to the car, so they clown him. They won't let him in. They won't let him in the limousine unless he rides shotgun. A lot of these young people they don't want to be in the middle. That's usually that's called the host seat, or the that's where the girl sits, is in the middle. So he don't want to sit in the middle. He wants to sit on the end. They said, "Oh hell no, you ain't sitting nowhere then." And so they get in this argument. He said, "Well, fuck it, I'll take a bus." They're going to some performance. Okay, so he said to take a bus. So as the limousine is pulling off, he runs over the boy's foot. Now he must have some good mending skills, because moments later he's in a fight on the good foot. Somebody runs a limousine over your foot, you ought to be on the ground screaming. Anyway, maybe he ran over just the edge of the foot, or maybe he ran over the shoe part of the foot or something. He ran over his foot. The guys they're laughing at him, making fun of him still, even though he's just had his foot run over by a limousine. So one of the guys, Bobby Brown is a bit of a bad boy. He comes up out of the sky roof and is taunting his kid. So the kid, who is Mike, spits right in his face. I mean, a big gob of spit right in his face. So they don't care if he's in pain or not. He jumps out. They get in the fight, and Mike kicks Bobby Brown's ass. Okay, so that's that scene. Okay, so now the parents, after that incident, the parents and the manager, the new manager Gary, is that, and then Bobby does a few other things. Okay, there's a fight. There's also, he got arrested for driving this Corvette, no license, no registration. He says he borrowed the car, a friend of his car, but I think we're led to believe that that is actually his car because he's also got stacks of money. And he was busted. He had over $6,000 in the car. And this girl, when we find out the girl is pregnant, $6,000. So he's selling drugs. He's in the drug game. Gary walks up on him in a car, playing with these two girls. I guess they give him head while they snort cocaine. So when the mothers get a wind of all this, they want him out. Bobby Brown got to go. And so, yeah, Bobby Brown, let me see if I got it in my notes. Got a girl pregnant. Okay. After the manager hits him with the girls, he said, Bobby got to go. He brings it to the guys. Guy says, okay, we got to make a decision here. We need to make it right now. Do we want Bobby Brown in the group? And slowly, they all say yes, they still wanted him to stay. So Bobby Brown stays in the group against the advice of the mothers and the manager. The next thing is they bring Brooke back. Now, Brooke they're from Boston. He's still in Boston. They had fired him because he wasn't an effective manager, and basically because there was the money. These mothers want money. They're poor people. They need the money, and they should be paid. These kids are working their ass off, and they're not getting paid anything. So they bring back Brooke. Brooke is kind of doing a surprise on them in the studio. They all like him. They're all happy to see him. But the manager, Gary, makes it clear, you are here as the choreographer. You just want to work with their dance steps. I am the manager. You are not the manager. In other words, don't get in my business. So Brooke kind of lets him have it. I see you. So you got these ghetto kids. You're gonna fuck them. You're gonna take advantage of them. And I'm brought in to make them dance. So that's how those two. They don't show a lot of the relationship between those two, because it seems like Brooke would kind of be recognizing that this is all a scam. They're being taken advantage of by these companies. But so far, still, they think that Gary is a good guy with their best interests at heart. He's promised them that the money is right around the corner. He got $1 million. He couldn't take those ladies, $20,000, $30,000 a piece. That would still only be, $100,000. Keep the rest of the $900,000 for yourself. Anyway, okay. Gary's running groups. Okay, so around that time we get to find out what's going on, because Gary is the CEO. He is pressuring Gary that they need a hit, they need a record. This is all about the money, right? And they're in the meeting. He asked him, yeah, there's no money, but did you get the new Mercedes, Gary? Did it have the phone in and all this kind of stuff? I did. Yeah, I got the new one, but it's kind of like yours, right? He said, oh, and the CEO said, no, I got a fax machine in mine. The point being, and they kind of did that kind of cleverly. They're letting us know that these guys are all living large. Everybody's living large, except the artists. And it's just so fucked up that they're pimping these people. They do all the work, and they don't even have the decency to pay them. You should have just took them down to IHOP and let them get jobs as busboys, and they would have made more money than they're making being stars. It's cold. That's what they need to. They need to somebody needs to come in there and do a Senate investigation on these record companies, because it's always the same story. You know, usually, eventually they'll start making money at the end of a lot of these biopics, but by the time they start making money, hell, it's already over with, because those music careers don't last that long. They get the money off the top, and when it's time to get paid, it's over. People not listening. They moved on. Disco is coming into fashion now, so it's a pretty cold game. Let's see what we got in. I don't know. I want to make a comment about this dude. They're on stage somewhere. The only thing the producers fell down on is this. When Bobby Brown is trying to sing his music and he rips his shirt open and it looks like little titties. I mean, it ain't sexy at all. I mean, a lot of these R&B singers, you know, they will rip their shirt open and whatever, show their chest or their pecs or whatever. But he ain't got no pecs. All he got is two little titties sticking out because the shirt doesn't split right. I think they should have reshot that. It just looks silly, stupid. But, okay, so Bobby Brown is starting to smell himself. Now, he wants to be the star of the show. So, whereas Ronnie is the lead singer, Bobby Brown takes over the stage. They're performing. Bobby Brown takes over the stage. It's almost like that scene with Michael Jackson and Flash, guitar player, but Flash got carried away. He's on drugs, whatever. Because I just happened to see that the day before, that concert where Michael Jackson gets frustrated and angry with Flash on stage because Flash has to take over the stage. But Bobby Brown does one of those numbers. He starts singing this and grinding to this whatever his love song they're doing. And they keep telling him, come on. And he's going out on the middle from the stage with his shirt all open. You know, he's romancing the girls and all that. Come on. He won't leave the stage. So they just jump into the next song. They said, well, what else can we do? Jump into the next song. They jump into the next song. Bobby Brown gets an attitude. And he quits on stage. This is the last time you'll see me with New Edition. Good. Okay, cool. We got an agreement, right? He walks off the stage. It's over with, right? Wrong. He comes back on the stage. What did he have on? Some damn, I don't remember something strange about the outfit. He had thrown his jacket. He's high, is basically the point. He's high. He gets back up on the stage and tries to take over the damn stage to sing. And so the boys are not having it. So there's a big old fight happens on stage with Bobby Brown. They basically kick his ass in front of the whole world. All right. Now Bobby is out by vote. They vote again. After that incident, the manager comes back to them. So I'm confusing my scenes a little bit. I think this is when he confronts them in the car. He said, we need to make a decision right now. So before I said that happened earlier. No, that happened earlier, but not in the same way. They weren't in a car and needed to make a decision right now. So after the second incident, they decide, okay, everybody voted. He's out. Bobby Brown's gone. Okay. Okay. So then it's becoming clear now. Mike is like the business person, or the most of them. I mean, they're just teenagers, kids. So, but Mike peeps that this record company, this other producer is getting credit on their album cover. He goes and confronts the guy, Gerald, about who is this company? Who is this guy? This other company that's on our album. So the producer breaks it down for him because he breaks in on. Okay, Mike breaks in on a conference meeting. They're in there, the record people. He breaks in and he confronts him in front of all these people. He clears okay, so the producer, the CEO clears the room, or tell everybody to wait here, and he takes him out of the room. Now, it's not one of the Lucius Lyons things, take him out of the room and kick his ass. He'd be able with a pipe. It's not that. He takes him out of the room and he explains to him what's been going on with their manager. I forgot his name already. But with Gary. What Gary's been doing is Gary's basically signed the guys to his label. That he signed them to him personally. So he is as the producer. So they're signed to him. They're signed to Gary. They're not signed to MCA Records. Gary is signed to MCA Records. I mean, I don't know if I'm explaining it right, but they're signed to him. That's why all the money flows through him. And then, so they don't even have a record with the record company. They don't even have a contract with the record company. They have a contract with Gary. And he's said, you're supposed to read your contract. So he's trying to educate him a little bit. Oh, what's been going on there? And so Mike decides he's going to fire Gary, get rid of his ass. Now, they don't go into the contractual obligations there because if they're in the contract with Gary, then it doesn't seem like they would be able to fire Gary. He's been presenting himself as if he's just their employee, but in truth is they've been working for him because he owns the record. He owns their name. He owns their act. Anyway, what we're presented with is he invites him to a restaurant. Mike does with he's with an attorney. Gary knows the attorney, but he knows them from other business shenanigans, and he fires him. That's simple. Then so the lawyer is left. Then he orders some food, takes it with him, and he leaves the lawyer there with him to work out the details. So I guess that's why he has a lawyer there to try to get him out of this contract and then whatever the obligations are. Gary is not happy about it, so it would tell you that. And this is only part 2, so they could come back later on, but he's trying to sue them for, breaking the contract or whatever. But as far as we know, he's just fired. He's out. Okay, Ralph wants to go solo. Ralph's the lead singer. He wants to go solo, but he does it. But doesn't quit. Okay, Ralph gets these guys into his place. So I guess they're getting some money now because Ralph's got like a nice apartment. He's got red brick. There's like a little loft apartment. He invites the guys over and he plays them this music. And he tells them, this is my solo project. Well, the guys go off on him. We are a group. What the hell is this? That's trash. So he's saying he wants to do the solo project, but he's not saying he wants to leave the group. At least he hasn't vocalized that. It's not clear. He hasn't made it clear. I guess they're assuming that he means he wants to leave the group because he's doing a solo project without any of their knowledge. So he goes and talks to the CEO, Ralph does, and the CEO tells him, just hold on. We've got a plan for you. If you just do one more project with this is after they had the big fight. Now they had a big fight about this, about him doing this project. And so now he's got to go and kissy make up because the MCI doesn't want to let them out of the contract. He says you're contracted to do one more album. I guess through Gary. However the details work out. And we want you to do this one more album with them. And then we're going to take care of you. I promise you, I'll do a single project for you after you complete one more New Edition project and complete the contract, fulfill the contract. Okay, so reluctantly he says he'll do it. Same time, when he comes into the next recording session, he just shows up. I'm telling nobody's coming. There's someone else there. This guy is Johnny Gill. Now, I don't know if this guy is lip syncing or whatever the hell, but this boy can sing. Now, I'm not familiar with, like I said, I wasn't familiar with music on that level at that point in my life. And I wasn't familiar with New Edition because I thought it was just a kind of teeny bopper group. But this guy, Johnny Gill, comes in, and that is a good singer. I don't know if the actor is a good singer or is that somebody who I'm not aware of who's a good singer, but whoever the hell sings this song, he brings it. So they brought him in now to replace this dude, Ralph. Ralph said, I'm not out the group. And so they get into it. He says, oh, he's not part of the group. There's only 4 or 5 of us. And I'm in and he's out. So he talks to this guy like he's not there. But the guy, Gerald at the record company, CEO, he's made him a similar promise. Johnny Gill, He said, you come and do this project with no edition, and after that project, then your career is going to take off. We can give you a solo project, pour all this money behind you, and all this kind of stuff. Right. So Ralph didn't like that. They have a come together, Ralph and Johnny Gill. They kind of connect in a private meeting. So they both agreed to do it. The project's gorgeous. It's a beautiful project. They did that damn song. I don't even remember the name, but can you stand the rain? Can you stand the rain? Can you stand the rain? I do remember it vaguely when I was in the abandoned buildings getting high. I kind of remember it. We had a little music, so it sounds vaguely familiar to me. Anyway, they do this beautiful song with all of them singing. 6 of them in the studio. It's beautiful. That boy can sing, man. If he doesn't have a career, if he's not already a well-known singer, I don't know the actor. I don't know if he's already a well-known singer or what. But after this movie, he should be able to get him a contract, man. If he don't have one already, excellent singer. And their voices all work together in their particular fun. That's kind of like the high point of this whole thing so far. All right, so I said I wasn't going to review it. Maybe I talked too long. I don't know. But there was 2 episodes, and I would definitely be watching number 3 this evening. Okay, so this is a good project for BET. Very well done. It's on a level with 5 Heartbeats, Temptations. These music shows. I mean, I enjoy them. It always ends up in kind of a negative note, though. So, as far as I know, these guys are still young and still recording, still doing things. So, I think that the next part is going to be about them becoming Belle Biv DeVoe. All right, talk to you later, tomorrow, tonight. Talk to you tonight.